What if the key to a better life isn't about doing more, but removing what's quietly destroying you? In a world obsessed with chasing success, we forget that true peace often begins with subtraction, not addition. In this episode, we're not just talking change, we're eliminating what no longer serves your soul. Blank. Underscore. Blank. Have you ever looked around at your life and felt something was off? Not because you're lazy or unmotivated, but because you're carrying too many expectations, opinions, and noise. This video is your quiet reset. 10 things you must let go of, starting now, if you want more clarity, calm, and control. Blank. Underscore. Blank. The most powerful transformations don't come with fireworks. They happen in silence, in the moments you choose to release toxic habits, cut hidden emotional ties, and reclaim your mental space. Today, we explored 10 quiet eliminations that could unlock the peace and power you've been searching for. In a world that constantly demands more achievements, more connections, more noise, it's easy to feel overwhelmed and stretched thin. We're told to hustle harder, to keep adding goals, routines, and obligations to our lives. But what if the key to a more meaningful and fulfilling life wasn't in accumulation, but in subtraction? What if real growth begins not with doing more, but with quietly letting go of what no longer serves us? What if, by eliminating the mental, emotional, and physical clutter, we could create space for clarity, peace, and genuine purpose? In this episode, we'll explore 10 powerful things you should quietly eliminate from your life to begin living with greater intention, calm, and inner freedom. These lessons are deeply inspired by the timeless principles of Stoicism, not as abstract philosophy, but as practical wisdom you can apply today. You won't need to make loud declarations. You won't need validation from others. This is a journey of quiet, personal transformation. It's about removing what's silently weighing you down: the opinions of others, toxic relationships, destructive habits, the illusion of control, and the constant digital noise that crowds your thoughts. These aren't just surface-level changes. They're deep shifts in mindset and behavior that can lead to a life of deeper self-respect, freedom, and sustainable contentment. By the end of this episode, you'll have a clear roadmap to start letting go of what's been holding you back and reconnect with what truly matters to your soul. Because sometimes, the most powerful transformations happen in silence. Let's begin. Number 1. Overcoming the fear of other people's opinions. How much of your life have you spent editing yourself, your words, your actions, your dreams, just to avoid judgment? This fear is sneaky. It doesn't always show up as panic. Sometimes, it's a quiet hesitation, a pause before speaking up, a voice in your head that whispers, "What will they think?" Over time, this fear doesn't just affect your decisions, it shapes your identity. It convinces you to live a smaller, quieter version of your life, one that constantly seeks approval instead of authenticity. But here's the truth. People are not thinking about you nearly as much as you believe they are. Everyone is wrapped up in their own insecurities, worries, and distractions. The illusion that the world is watching your every move? That's just noise. Even if someone does judge you, so what? Ask yourself, what real impact does their opinion have on your life? Do their judgments pay your bills? Do they build your dreams? Do they walk in your shoes? The answer is almost always no. Stoic philosopher Epictetus reminds us to focus only on what we can control: our thoughts, our actions, our attitudes. We can't control how others see us, but we can control how much power we give their opinions. He famously said, "If you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." That doesn't mean we aim to be misunderstood. It means we embrace the discomfort that comes with growing. Because growth is messy, it's vulnerable, and sometimes people won't get it, and that's okay. So how do we start to let go of this fear in practice? Begin with awareness. Catch yourself in those small moments when you're holding back out of fear. Pause. Ask, am I acting from my values? Or am I reacting to fear? What's the worst that could happen if I chose authenticity? Try this simple exercise. Do something small that challenges your fear of judgment. Share your thoughts in a meeting. Post something honest online. Wear what feels right to you, not what others expect. Each small step builds a powerful habit, choosing inner alignment over external approval. And remember, environment matters. Spend time with people who uplift you, those who value your authenticity more than your conformity. If you're surrounded by constant judgment, your fear will grow. If you're surrounded by support, your courage will. At its core, this fear is rooted in our human need to belong. But true belonging doesn't require you to shrink or edit yourself. It happens when you show up fully, as you are. Ask yourself this: at the end of your life, do you want to look back and realize you lived according to others' expectations? Or do you want to say, I lived true to myself? Most of the opinions you're afraid of today will be forgotten tomorrow. But your choices, the ones you make for you, those will stay with you forever. Overcoming the fear of judgment isn't about ignoring others. It's about centering your own voice. It's about choosing your peace over public perception, your happiness over hollow approval. And once you do that, something remarkable happens. The world gets quieter, your mind gets clearer, and your path, your true path, begins to appear. Now let's move to the second thing we must quietly eliminate. Eliminate these draining connections is to do so quietly and intentionally. You don't need to make a grand announcement or justify your actions to anyone. Simply start by distancing yourself. Gradually spend less time with those who bring negativity into your life and invest more time in people who uplift and support you. But how do you recognize a toxic relationship? Pay attention to how you feel after spending time with someone. Do you leave feeling drained, anxious, or small? Do you feel like you're walking on eggshells, constantly trying to avoid conflict or disapproval? If the answer is yes, that relationship may be doing more harm than good. Healthy relationships should leave you feeling energized, supported, and accepted for who you are, not emotionally exhausted. Stoicism teaches us the importance of maintaining inner peace by controlling what we can. Epictetus said the key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. This doesn't mean cutting people out of your life at the first sign of difficulty. It means setting boundaries with those who consistently bring negativity or chaos into your life. Setting boundaries is an essential step in quietly eliminating toxic relationships. Boundaries aren't about shutting people out, they're about protecting your peace. They allow you to interact with others without sacrificing your well-being. For example, if you have a friend who always brings drama into your life, you might choose to limit how often you engage with them or steer conversations away from topics that cause tension. It's also important to remember that some toxic relationships can be transformed through open communication. Not all difficult relationships are irredeemable. Sometimes honest conversations about how you feel can lead to growth and change. However, if you've tried this and nothing improves, it's okay to let go. Letting go doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care enough about yourself to prioritize your mental and emotional health. Here's something practical you can do. Make a list of the people in your life who consistently uplift you and those who drain you. Once you've identified them, draining relationships, ask yourself, can this relationship be improved through communication, or is it time to create some distance? Then take one small action, whether it's limiting time spent with them or setting a boundary to protect your well-being. Ask yourself, am I holding on to relationships out of habit or because they truly add value to my life? If it's the former, start letting go quietly. You don't need permission or approval to protect your peace. You owe it to yourself to create an environment that supports your growth, not one that holds you back. Remember, cutting out toxic relationships isn't about being harsh, it's about being kind to yourself. By eliminating these draining connections, you free up space for healthier relationships and a more peaceful, fulfilling life. True self-respect comes from surrounding yourself with people who see your worth and help you become the best version of yourself. Number 3, breaking free from destructive habits. We all have habits that on the surface seem harmless: scrolling through social media late at night, procrastinating on important tasks, indulging in comfort food when stressed. But over time, these seemingly small behaviors can quietly chip away at your peace, productivity, and well-being. Destructive habits don't just waste time, they drain your energy, weaken your self-discipline, and prevent you from living the life you truly want. Breaking free from these habits starts with awareness. Many destructive habits operate on autopilot. You do them without thinking because they've become ingrained routines. The first step is to identify these patterns. Ask yourself, what habits leave me feeling worse afterward, or what behaviors are holding me back from progress? Once you bring these habits into conscious awareness, you can begin the process of eliminating them. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of self-mastery. The Stoics believed that true freedom comes from controlling your desires and impulses rather than being controlled by them. Seneca once wrote, "Most powerful is he who has himself in his own power." This doesn't mean striving for perfection, it means striving for control over the things that lead to unnecessary suffering. One effective strategy for breaking destructive habits is replacement. Rather than simply trying to stop a habit, replace it with something positive. For example, if you find yourself mindlessly scrolling through your phone when you're bored, try picking up a book or going for a walk instead. The goal isn't to create a void, it's to fill that space with something that serves you better. Another key to breaking free from bad habits is starting small. Many people fail to change their habits because they aim too high too fast. Instead of trying to overhaul your entire routine overnight, focus on making one small change at a time. If you're trying to cut back on late-night snacking, start by replacing just one unhealthy snack with something more nutritious. Over time, these small wins add up, building momentum and confidence. It's also important to practice self-compassion during this process. Breaking destructive habits isn't easy, and there will be moments when you slip up. Instead of beating yourself up, treat those moments as learning opportunities. Ask yourself, what triggered this behavior and how can I handle it differently next time? The goal isn't to be perfect, it's to make consistent progress toward a healthier, more intentional life. Here's a practical exercise. Pick one habit you want to change for the next week. Focus on replacing that habit with something more positive. Track your progress each day, and at the end of the week, reflect on how you feel. Did the change make you feel more in control, more at peace, or more productive? Use these reflections to keep improving, ask yourself, am I controlling my habits or are my habits controlling me? If it's the latter, remind yourself that you have the power to change. Every small step you take toward eliminating destructive habits is a step toward greater freedom and self-respect. Remember, your habits shape your life. By quietly eliminating the ones that no longer serve you, you create space for better routines, ones that support your growth, boost your well-being, and help you become the person you want to be. True progress isn't about grand gestures, it's about small, consistent actions that lead to lasting change. Number 4. Letting go of the need to control everything. How often do you find yourself trying to control every detail of your life, whether it's your job, your relationships, or even the outcome of situations that are beyond your reach? The desire for control is deeply rooted in the human mind. It gives us a sense of safety and predictability. But here's the paradox: the more you try to control everything, the more stressed and anxious you become. Life is unpredictable, and clinging to the illusion of control only leads to frustration when things don't go as planned. Letting go of the need to control everything doesn't mean becoming passive or indifferent. It means focusing on what you can control and releasing what you can't. This principle is at the heart of Stoic philosophy. Epictetus famously said, "Some things are up to us and some things are not." The Stoics taught that we should direct our energy toward controlling our thoughts, actions, and reactions while accepting the uncertainty of external events. Imagine. Number 4. Letting go of the need to control everything. Imagine this. You're stuck in a sea of traffic on your way to an important meeting. Cars stretch endlessly in front of you, horns blaring, tension rising. Your pulse quickens, and frustration starts to boil. It's a scenario we've all experienced, and yet, no matter how tightly we grip the wheel or how loudly we sigh, the reality remains. We can't control the traffic, but we can control our response. You could honk and curse under your breath, allowing stress to consume you. Or, you could take a deep breath, accept the situation for what it is, and use the time as a gift to listen to a podcast, reflect on your day, or simply reconnect with your breath. The traffic doesn't change, but your inner state? That can shift entirely. Letting go of control isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It requires a complete mental shift from resisting uncertainty to embracing it. The truth is, uncertainty is an unavoidable part of life. The more we try to cling to predictability, the more we suffer when life inevitably deviates from our expectations. Acceptance doesn't mean passivity. It means recognizing where our influence ends, and choosing to release the mental and emotional strain caused by trying to grip what we were never meant to hold. The Stoics taught this masterfully. Epictetus reminded us that some things are up to us, our thoughts, choices, and actions, and some are not. Peace comes when we stop wasting energy on what we cannot command, and instead invest it in what we can. Another profound step in releasing control is detaching from outcomes. This doesn't mean we stop caring. It means doing our best, with integrity and intention, and then allowing life to unfold as it will. Obsessing over whether a project will be praised, or whether a conversation will go exactly as planned, only heightens anxiety. Instead, focus on effort, not applause. Focus on presence, not perfection. Here's something simple and practical. The next time life throws you into chaos, pause and ask, is this something I can control? If yes, take action. If no, breathe and release. Say to yourself, I can't control this, but I can choose how I respond. With practice, this mindset becomes your armor. Mindfulness is your ally here. When you anchor your attention in the now, by observing your breath, your environment, or the sensations in your body. You distance yourself from the urge to fix everything. Try this. Take 5 minutes each day to sit quietly, breathe, and observe without judgment. These small rituals train your mind to stay calm amidst uncertainty. Ask yourself, am I exhausting myself trying to force outcomes that were never mine to dictate? Start small. Let go of one thing today, a lingering grudge, an unrealistic deadline, or someone's opinion of you. Pay attention to how it feels. There's lightness in surrender, and there's strength in that release. Remember, letting go doesn't mean failure. It means maturity. It means choosing peace over perfectionism, acceptance over resistance. Life will always throw curveballs, but when you meet them with calm, not control, you reclaim your energy and rise with purpose. In that surrender, you'll find a rare kind of freedom, a stillness that sharpens clarity, deepens resilience, and prepares your spirit for whatever comes next. Now, let's move to the fifth silent saboteur we must eliminate. Number 5. Releasing unrealistic expectations. Unrealistic expectations are silent saboteurs. They slip into our minds unnoticed and quietly distort our reality. They tell us that success should come quickly, that people should always meet our standards, and that life should unfold exactly as we envision, with no setbacks or detours. But as you may have already experienced, this gap between expectation and reality becomes a constant source of disappointment, stress, and emotional exhaustion. Think back to a time when you expected someone to behave a certain way, maybe a friend to support you or a colleague to deliver on a promise, and they didn't. The sting wasn't just in their action, but in the story you had already written in your mind. Or perhaps you set an ambitious goal and felt defeated when progress came slower than expected. The frustration didn't come from effort, it came from the illusion that it should have been easier. The Stoics offer a liberating truth. We don't suffer from events themselves, but from our judgment of them. Marcus Aurelius wisely wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In other words, life will unfold in its own unpredictable way, but peace lies in how we choose to respond. One of the most common unrealistic expectations is perfectionism. We expect ourselves to perform flawlessly, never make mistakes, and always be in control. But perfection is a moving target. It's an illusion that keeps you chasing and never arriving. Letting go of this mindset doesn't mean lowering your standards. It means embracing progress over perfection and allowing space for learning, growth, and even failure. Another form of unrealistic expectation lies in how we view others. We often hope people will always understand us, agree with us, or meet us at our level of emotional awareness. But people are human, flawed, evolving, and shaped by their own perspectives. Expecting them to behave exactly how we want only sets us up for resentment. Instead, practice empathy. Accept that not everyone will align with your ideals, and that's okay. So how do we release these expectations in practice? Step 1. Identify where your expectations might be too rigid. Are you pushing for immediate results in a situation that requires patience? Are you holding others to standards you yourself struggle to meet? Step 2. Shift from control to flexibility. Instead of assuming everything will go smoothly, Prepare yourself for alternative outcomes. This doesn't mean you give up, it means you stay adaptable, grounded, and ready for reality as it is. Here's a practical exercise. Think of an area in your life where you've been feeling frustrated. Ask yourself, am I upset because of the situation, or because it didn't meet an expectation I created? If it's the latter, try reframing. Replace, "This should have happened," with, "This is what's happening. How can I respond wisely?" And finally, check in with this powerful question. Am I holding on to expectations that are making me unhappy? If so, remind yourself, letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means releasing pressure and creating space for peace. By freeing yourself from unrealistic expectations, you allow life to be messy, beautiful, and real. You stop fighting against the current and begin flowing with it. You stop demanding perfection and start welcoming progress. In that flow, there is resilience, there is calm, there is joy. And with that, let's shift to the sixth quiet burden we must release to live more freely and fully. Number 6. Letting go of the need to always be right. There's a hidden cost to always needing to be right, and that cost is peace. In the heat of an argument, it's tempting to double down, raise your voice, and cling tightly to your point of view. Why? Because deep down, being right can feel like being safe, being in control, being respected. But what if that need is actually robbing you of connection, calm, and clarity? The Stoics understood this well. Epictetus taught, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." True wisdom doesn't come from asserting dominance in a conversation. It comes from humility, from the willingness to listen, to admit when you're wrong, and to be open to other perspectives. When we release the ego's grip on being right, we gain access to something even more valuable: growth. Think of the people you respect the most. Are they the loudest in the room? Or are they the ones who listen carefully, weigh their words, and speak with measured understanding? Often, the most admirable people are those who don't need to win every debate. They simply aim to understand. Being right may give you a short burst of satisfaction, but being kind, respectful, and open-minded, that builds long-term trust, credibility, and peace of mind. Here's a simple but powerful practice. The next time you find yourself in a disagreement, pause, take a breath. Instead of preparing your counter-argument, focus on truly hearing the other person. Ask yourself, am I listening to understand, or just waiting for my turn to speak? That one shift can transform an argument into a dialogue and create space for connection, not conflict. You can also ask another vital question. Is this worth my peace? Not every disagreement needs to end with a winner. Sometimes, choosing to let go isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's not about backing down, it's about standing up for your inner calm. Try this practical exercise the next time you're tempted to prove your point. Ask yourself, do I want to be right, or do I want to be at peace? If the need to be right is driving your energy, challenge that urge, step back, see what happens when you choose understanding instead. Letting go of the need to be right doesn't mean you stop having opinions or values. It means you learn to hold those values with grace, to stay rooted in calm even when challenged, and to release the emotional toll of always needing to convince others. In the end, this shift leads to better conversations, healthier relationships, and a quieter mind, you stop fighting unnecessary battles. You stop defending your ego. And instead, you start showing up as your highest, most grounded self. So, the next time you feel the urge to be right, pause and ask if peace might serve you better. Now, let's explore the seventh source of noise that must be cleared if we want to live more fully present and free. Number 7. Silencing the digital noise. We live in a world that never stops buzzing. Notifications, pings, alerts, our phones, tablets, and inboxes constantly demand our attention. In this hyper-connected age, silence has become rare, and stillness almost feels rebellious. But here's the catch. This digital noise doesn't just distract us, it drains us. It fragments our focus, shortens our attention spans, and disconnects us from the present moment. Technology isn't the enemy. In fact, it's a powerful tool when used with intention. But when we allow it to control us, it becomes a source of anxiety, stress, and mental exhaustion. Think about it. How often do you reach for your phone out of habit? Not necessity? How many times have you opened an app and suddenly lost 20 minutes scrolling without even realizing it? The Stoics may not have faced smartphones, but their wisdom applies perfectly. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In a digital world, that means reclaiming our attention. It means choosing when and how we engage, rather than reacting to every buzz and beep. So how do we begin to silence the digital noise? Start by identifying your triggers. Is it mindless scrolling on social media? The endless flood of emails? Group chats that never seem to sleep? Once you pinpoint where most of the noise comes from, you can take steps to reduce it. Step 1. Declutter your digital space. Unfollow accounts that make you feel less than enough. Unsubscribe from emails you never read. Turn off notifications for apps that don't need your immediate attention. Every small change creates more space for mental clarity. Step 2. Introduce tech-free zones in your day. Maybe it's the first 30 minutes of your morning, no phone. Just silence, journaling, or a calm cup of tea. Or maybe it's the last hour before bed, allowing your mind to wind down naturally. These boundaries are powerful. They signal to your brain that you're in charge, not the screen. Step 3. Be intentional with your tech. Use it to learn, create, and connect, not to avoid boredom or numb your feelings. Ask yourself, am I using this device to enrich my life? Or just to distract myself? When you begin to filter your usage through this lens, your relationship with technology shifts. Here's a simple practice. The next time you feel the urge to check your phone, pause and take one deep breath. Ask, what do I really need right now? More often than not, it's rest, clarity, or presence, not another dopamine hit from a glowing screen. And when comparison sneaks in, through curated highlight reels and filtered lives, anchor yourself with gratitude. Take a moment to name 3 things you're thankful for. They can be small, a hot shower, a kind message, the sound of rain. Gratitude grounds you. It brings you back to what is real, what is yours. Remember, you control what you consume. You can curate your environment, both digital and physical, to support your peace of mind. And that peace? It's worth protecting by silencing the digital noise. You open space for deeper focus, richer connection, and a stronger sense of self. You begin to hear your own thoughts more clearly. You begin to reclaim your time. And in that quiet, something powerful happens. You return to yourself. Now, let's move to the next piece of inner clutter that quietly holds us back. Those negative thoughts that loop in our minds. Often unchecked,